this former prosecutor is making an extraordinary public apology. He wrote a headline-making letter to the editor in which he said he was not as interested in justice as I was in winning. I apologize to Glenn Ford for all the misery I have caused him and his family. On a recent Thursday night, we accompanied Marty Stroud on his way to confront what may be his greatest shame. What do you expect out of this?
I have no idea. I'm deeply sorry for what happened.
He was on his way to meet the innocent man he put on death row, this time to apologize in person. Both men had agreed to this meeting, but neither knew how it would go as they prepared to come face to face for the first time in 30 years.
Mr. Ford.
Their paths first crossed in 1983 when Isidore Roseman, a local watch dealer in Shreveport, Louisiana, was found shot in the head inside his home repair shop. Within days, the police zeroed in on Ford, who had done yard work for the victim. After a 7-day trial, even though there was no eyewitness and no murder weapon, the jury came back with a guilty verdict and a death sentence.
You were pleased when that verdict came down?
I was very pleased.
You went out and celebrated with some drinks?
I did that.
But now, Marty Stroud admits it was not a fair fight.
The deck was stacked going in.
Ford's court-appointed defense team had almost no experience and no resources. And Stroud reluctantly admits he further stacked the deck against Ford by ensuring that the jury was all white.
Looking back on it, I was not as sensitive to the issue of race as I am now.
Ford's outmatched defense team was also never told about confidential informants who had pointed the finger at two other suspects, the brothers Henry and Jake Robinson. Ford had told police that he was given some items to pawn by the brothers. He said he only later learned that those items had been taken from the victim's home. While Ford was sent to death row in Louisiana's infamous hellish Angola prison, the brothers remained free, and according to authorities, may be responsible for 5 other homicides. Ford would still be on death row today if not for a new confidential informant who told police that Jake Robinson confessed to him that he killed Isidore Roseman. Both brothers are now in jail, charged with other crimes. Neither, however, is charged with Roseman's murder. In Louisiana, exonerees like Glenn Ford are eligible for up to $330,000 in compensation payments. But when Ford petitioned for the money, a judge denied his request, saying that while Ford didn't kill Roseman, he is not completely innocent because he may have known about the shooting beforehand, a claim Ford fiercely denies. When Marty Stroud heard about the state's refusal to compensate Ford, that's when he sat down and wrote his extraordinary letter to the editor, saying Ford, quote, deserves every penny owed to him.
My personal belief is that he should be compensated. The cap on damages of compensation of $330,000 is a joke.
Ford needs that restitution money now more than ever. Just months after he got out, he was given a different kind of death sentence, stage 4 lung cancer. He currently survives on donations and is cared for by a staff of volunteers. When we spoke to Ford on the afternoon before his meeting with Stroud, he was so wiped out he could hardly open his eyes.
What was your reaction when Marty Stroud wrote that letter apologizing to you and your family?
I couldn't believe it.
30 years is a long time to be in Angola prison for a crime you did not do. And anger is not the emotion that comes to
anger? Oh, I'm upset, yes. But it's not my driving force.
What is your driving force?
To get well as I possibly can. And I can't do that being mad at Marty Stroud.
This attitude is apparently not unusual among exonerees. On some level, they must know that if they let it in, the anger could drown them.
What do you think the lesson from your case is?
It's forgiveness, I guess. But it's hard.
On the night of the meeting, we picked up Marty Stroud at the airport in New Orleans and walked him to Glenn's front door.
Mr. Ford.
Marty, how you doing?
How are you?
Doing all right.
And I've thought about this for a long, long time. I want you to know that I am very sorry. And I wish it's a stain on me that will be with me until I go to my grave. And I wasn't a very good person at all, so I apologize for that.
Right, but then it still cost me 31 years of my life and death, nothing at the end but death, because it gave me from 6 to 8 months to live.
There's nothing to say sufficient to give you those 30 years back. But I have to tell you that I've learned a lot about myself in the next 30 years, and even though this is the same person or same body, I would like to think that I've changed. And I've learned a lot from you.
You did?
I've learned watching you on television that I was thinking, man, if it had been me in there for 30 years, I'd be angry and surly.
Marty Stroud says he came here to say his piece, but did not expect anything in return.
It happened. It happened. And I'm sorry I can't forgive you. I really am. I really am.
I understand.
Okay?
I do, and I wish you well, and I wish you nothing but the best.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And may God bless you.
You too.
You take care of yourself. Okay?
All right, you too.
As Glenn Ford watches the man who helped steal 30 years of his life walk out the door, his caretakers gather around him, and the emotion seems to rush in.
Oh.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in New Orleans.